If you've just bought a coffee machine but your coffee tastes too bitter, too sour, or just plain bad, we're going to take you through 4 steps of coffee making.
Okay, so those 4 steps are selecting your beans, grinding your beans, tamping the coffee, and coffee machine maintenance. Very important.
Hi, I'm Nat.
And I'm Amy.
So, you've just bought yourself a shiny new espresso machine, maybe a bit like this one, very exciting. But your coffee tastes a bit meh. Don't panic, we've all been there.
The truth is, really small mistakes can ruin your coffee, like freezing your beans, don't do that, or messing up your tamping technique.
This is the worst!
But don't worry, these fixes are really easy, and by the end of this video, your coffee is going to taste so much better. Point number 1, your beans. I've got a lot of opinions about this. It's one of the most common offenders of all is your coffee beans and the quality of them and how fresh they are. You've followed all the instructions in the manual, you've done everything right, but the espresso just still doesn't taste very good.
Yeah.
Could it be that the coffee beans are to blame? Maybe. Should you store them in the freezer? We'll come to that in a moment. Buying a big bag of supermarket coffee beans is so convenient. You can just stick them in your basket during your grocery shop, but these beans aren't usually fresh. They've been sitting on the shelf for months, which means they've probably gone stale. And stale beans do not make a good cup of coffee. So, what can you do to fix this? Buy fresh beans and, if possible, in small batches. Most roasters say use them within 30 days, but you can use them within 3 months though. The roast date should last about 3 months, and you'll find them on the back of your bag of fresh coffee beans usually. Coffee beans start to go bad when they're exposed to light, air, moisture and heat. So you want to stick them in an opaque container that can't let any light in. Ideally, if you really want to go to the next level, you can get a vacuum sealed one like this one, and you just twist it like this and it'll lock in all the air. This one's from Fellow. You can buy it from lots of coffee retailers, and then when you want to release the air, you just press that button like that, and it's so easy. So I really recommend getting something like that. That'll keep your beans super fresh and tasting delicious, which is what you want at the end of the day.
But what about freezing your beans? Because lots of people say that's like the thing to do.
I know, I hear a lot of people saying this and it really upsets me. It's a long-standing debate between coffee enthusiasts. Some people say that it prolongs the freshness and keeps the temperature consistent. Other people say that when you take the beans out of that cold environment, you risk the chance of condensation getting on the container that they're in. And as we've said already, coffee beans don't like moisture. So, in my opinion, I don't think you should put them in the fridge or the freezer. I think something like this is so much better and will keep them exactly as you want them to be.
The next thing that's going to make a massive difference to how your coffee at home is tasting is grind size. It could be that you're buying really beautiful beans like these ones from a local coffee roaster, and you're doing all the things, but it's still not tasting quite right. Maybe it's too bitter, too sour. This is all linked with why your espresso might be coming out too quickly or too slowly. For espresso, you want coffee grounds to be fine, a bit like sand if you rub them between your fingers. Coarser grounds can have a rougher and like chunkier texture.
Yeah, almost sort of like soil, I guess. Like sort of thick.
And that's best for like pour over or filter coffee, or even in your cafetiere. As soon as you hit the espresso machine button on your machine, you want your coffee to come out between 25 and 30 seconds. That is the golden window. If it's being too slow and going over 30 seconds, your espresso is probably going to be quite bitter, and that means your grounds are too fine and the water is having problems coming through them. But if your water's coming through really quickly, then the grounds are probably too coarse, and this is not going to make a good coffee either. That's because it's able to come through the grounds really quickly. If you think of water going through pebbles rather than sand, it's going to run through super quickly, which will lead to a more sour and acidic taste, which is not what we want. If that's the case, have a play around with your grinder settings. We call this dialing in your coffee machine. You'll want to do this sort of every time you get some new coffee beans to make sure that your coffee is extracting in the correct time. It might take some trial and error, but we promise the results will be worth it.
Absolutely. Number 3, tamping technique. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, let me explain. So you might have seen baristas doing this in coffee shops. Tamping is the action of pressing the coffee into the portafilter basket. And by doing this, you're allowing the water to soak up all the delicious flavours from the coffee as it pours into your cup. But poor tamping can be a nightmare for brewing espresso, because as we talked about a moment ago, if the water runs too quickly or too slowly through the grounds, you're going to end up with an espresso that tastes too bitter or too sour, and nobody wants that. The basics are you want the coffee grounds to be even, so the espresso doesn't flow through one side of the portafilter, and relatively compact but not so pressed together that the water can't get through. You can do a few practice shots with this. Practice does make perfect. Don't stress if you don't get it right the first time. Okay, so once your grounds are in, you might find you make a little bit of mess on the worktop. Grab your tamper. If your portafilter has spouts at the bottom, you kind of want to do it on the end of a flat surface, like at the end of your worktop like that.
Yeah, you don't want to bend the spouts, that's really important.
It would be really bad, yeah. So because we've got a flat bottom here, we can actually place it on the countertop to show you. So you've got your tamper here. I tend to go for a technique that looks like this. So you've got a really nice firm grip on the end of your tamper. Try to avoid twisting it, because if you twist it, you might end up falling like forwards or backwards, and then you're going to end up with an uneven surface. Brush away what's around the outside, and that is your tamp. It's really easy to do. Don't stress if you don't get it right the first time. It does take some practice, but practice does make perfect, and before you know it, you'll be like a professional barista.
Okay, our last section is machine maintenance. It might sound really obvious, but not cleaning your coffee machine regularly is going to make your coffee taste a lot worse. But as for day-to-day, your machine should come with a manual that will have instructions as to how to clean. But we're going to take you through some basic steps, which will definitely keep your machine nice and clean and your coffee tasting delicious. Your machine may come with some tools, like a brush like this. This will help you dust any grounds that are around the group head, which is this bit here where the coffee comes out, as well as sort of clean around your grinder or anything else if you've got any loose grounds.
Coffee goes everywhere, doesn't it? So needs must.
Other thing that's really helpful is flushing your machine out daily, ideally before you use it. So by this we just mean running hot water through the machine before you put any coffee in. Also make sure to regularly empty your drip tray, otherwise coffee tends to get everywhere. Okay, so the key thing to remember is if your coffee machine isn't producing the amazing coffee that you thought it would, it might not be its fault. Run through these steps first, make sure you're using fresh coffee, make sure the grind size is correct, give your coffee machine a clean and make sure you're cleaning it regularly. And if it's still not doing the thing it should, then contact your manufacturer for more advice, or you can reach out to us in the comments below and we might have a solution for you.
And let us know if there are any questions you have that we didn't answer for you in this video. We've got more advice on coffee machines on the Good Food YouTube channel, so don't forget to hit subscribe, and thank you for watching.